What's up? I'm your host, Skeptical Scott.
And I am this week's co-host, Artie Fisher.
Welcome to Funny You Say That. If you've ever rethought what you were taught and said, I think differently now, then this show's for you. The Heathen. There and back again. Please join us as we drop the supernatural, embrace the rational, and believe in as many true things as possible.
Hey, Scott, what do we have today?
Hi, everybody. Hey, this is a different format today. Not a storytelling episode here, just some quick announcements to address some questions that have come up after the first several episodes. First, hey, man, thank you for the feedback you've sent me so far. I'm glad people are not feeling as alone on a topic that can be challenging to talk about because, as one of you shared, my family and friends would freak out if they knew I was listening to this podcast. One of you said, it's different. I'm happy you said that. At least I think you mean that as a good thing. A couple have said that they like the sound effects and even said, it's funny. You hear that, Artie?
Yeah, Scott, you are like so funny. Do you feel better now?
Well, yeah. And Artie, some of the listeners even appreciate you too.
Wow, really?
Now, don't let that go to your head. I said some of them do.
Oh, I see.
But Artie, it's fair to say I'm currently your number one fan.
Okay, whatever.
Finally, thank you to listener Mike for bringing me a Hershey chocolate bar to surprise me. Woohoo! What a creative way to reference episode 2. Hey kid, you want candy? So once again, thanks for letting me know what you're thinking. Can you do me a favor? Let others know what you're thinking. If you like the show, leave a rating on your podcast player. It will help others find it. Second, a clarification. In the show notes, there's an option to text or email me. If you click the text me option, you see a phone number, but the truth is you're not seeing my number, and I don't see yours either. It's an anonymous communication through the podcast hosting site. The text ends up going right to my email box, so if you'd rather just directly email me, that address is HeySkepticalScott@gmail.com. Third, we are open for guests. Steve Giacottis was interviewed on episode 3, and you're going to hear another interview very soon in late November. Would you be interested in sharing a part of your questimony? What was one pivotal moment in the development of your personal beliefs about the supernatural? Is there one particular topic regarding religion or the lack thereof that you want to address with me? I'm also interested in informing listeners on supportive groups like Recovering from Religion or the Clergy Project and more to help people find community. And whether you want to simply share that through an email or try to do it interview style, contact me through the show notes and we can set something up. You can do that anonymously as well. Finally, you've probably noticed I'm also staying somewhat anonymous. Think of Skeptical Scott as a stage name. You know, I just don't want my Heathenist podcast to be the first thing that comes up if someone were to search my actual name. I know many of you understand. Hey, let's just face it. Some are quick to judge and perhaps not be so forgiving. Am I right? That said, it's absolutely okay to share this show. Fear keeps people quiet and hidden. And if you're in a position that you can share the show without much flack from the people around you, go for it. After all, it's important to use our voice. In fact, along this topic, we do have a skeptic of the show today.
Well, I think it's real important to question what you know. Before you leave this podcast, it's the skeptic of the show.
Kate Cohen is a columnist and author who grew up in Virginia and has a bachelor's degree in comparative literature from Dartmouth College. You can find her columns in the Washington Post, What follows is a portion of an essay she authored last year called America Doesn't Need More God. It Needs More Atheists.
It shouldn't be hard to say you don't believe in God. It shouldn't be shocking or shameful. I know that I'm moral and respectful and friendly, and the more I say to people that I'm an atheist, me, the mom who taught the kindergarten class about baking with yeast and brought the killer cupcakes to the bake sale, the more people will stop assuming that being an atheist means being a serial killer. And then, the more I say I'm an atheist, the more other people will feel comfortable calling themselves atheists, and the stigma will gradually dissolve. Can you imagine? If we all knew how many of us there are, it would give everyone permission to be honest with their kids and their friends, to grapple with big questions without having to hold on to beliefs they never embraced. And it would take away permission, too. Permission to pass laws, or grant exemptions to laws based on the presumed desires of a fictional creation. Permission to be cruel to fellow human beings based on Bible verses. Permission to eschew political action in favor of thoughts and prayers. I understand that, to many people, this might sound difficult or risky. For some, I fully concede the stakes are too high. If you think you'd lose your job or put your children at risk of harassment for declaring your atheism, you get a pass. If you would be risking physical harm, don't speak out. If you're an atheist running for school board somewhere that book bans are on the agenda, then feel free to keep it quiet, and God bless. But for everyone else who doesn't believe in God and hasn't said so, consider that your honesty will allow others to be honest, and that your reticence encourages others to keep quiet. Consider that the longer everyone keeps quiet, the longer religion has political and cultural license to hurt people. Consider that the United States, to survive as a secular democracy, needs you now more than ever. And the next time you find yourself tempted to pretend that you believe in God, tell the truth instead.
Kate, well done. I appreciate your wise words from last year for skeptics like me. Also, a personal thank you for your encouraging words to me earlier this week. It inspires me to keep doing projects like this. Cheers! As we face next month's election, we have a must-see documentary suggestion from one of our listeners who goes by Doubtful Dave. I see what you did there. The documentary is called Bad Faith, and you can find it on Amazon Prime or elsewhere. Here's what Doubtful Dave says. It does the amazing job connecting the dots on the existential threat posed by the latest iteration of the Christian nationalist movement to democracy. Please note, this is not an anti-Christian film. It is a misuse of faith film. There is plenty of material in it with pastors who highlight the things Christianity actually stands for, juxtaposed with how it is utterly twisted by Christian nationalists. They do not intend to earn your vote, as evidenced by the dozens of voter restriction laws passed in states during just the last couple of years. They want to replace democracy and don't even hide it, as the film makes it abundantly clear. Trump, as much of an obvious lightning rod as he is just the symptom of this movement that has been around for a very long time, woven in American history since a little after the Civil War, through the Civil Rights Movement, to the present day, such as the insurrectionists who stormed Washington, D.C. with the ferocity of viewing themselves as committed soldiers of a holy war. Viewed through the lens this documentary provides, it helps explain how we could possibly be in our current predicament of blind, cultish loyalty to an alternate reality. It hurts knowing people who have been swept up by it. The number one characteristic of cults? They don't know they're in one. Thank you for your review of Blind Faith, Dave. And listeners, guess what? I'm happy to say that Doubtful Dave has agreed to an interview. You'll hear us describe our experience together at a 4-day Christian camp for grown men. Yep, if you've ever heard of Wild at Heart, well, we done did that. And while it changed us, I don't know if it was the change the conference had intended. You can look forward to that interview coming out probably sometime in late December. So what's next? Hey, you know what's next. Election 2024. That will be the topic of our next show. Perhaps for that special episode, I'll just borrow from one of our candidates' playbook and play some music for about 39 minutes or so. Come on now, I wouldn't do that to you. After the election is over, we will get back into the high school and college years, including an interview in late November with my friend Matt, who today is a secular humanist, but back in our high school days, he was a Christian, and we will discuss our public school graduation when he took the stage and seized the moment to preach to any remaining heathens in the crowd. You won't want to miss that. Subscribe on your favorite podcast player so you get the show right when it comes out. Thank you for listening to Funny You Say That, and we'll see you next Friday.